I'm impressed. I did not expect to get this much fun holiday content on our stream today. So I'm really pleased with that. Hello, how are you? I'm Morgan. My pronouns are they and them. And this is my channel, Tempest Games, where I do world building, ttrpg, and board game design content, and some indie live plays. How are you? What have you been up to? What's going on? I got a haircut. Well, I cut my own hair. Yeah. Does anybody else who uses clippers on their hair forget like how short it's supposed to be from time to time? Because I did it again and made it too long, and now because I cut this bit so short, it'd make it really hard to get a good smooth line in the shaved bit. So I'm just gonna have to wait and fix it later. Oh well, what are you gonna do? I had a nice week off. I played a lot of Valheim. Yeah, often into the wee hours of the morning, which is not necessarily healthy. And also, and I warned you this was going to happen, but Generation Fantasy started this week. Woohoo! It's been a very exciting week and a half on the indoor recess front. One of my favorite live play groups out there, not one of my absolute favorite live play group out there. You can find them on Twitch at Indoor Recess Crew. I'll write that down. And they do all their streams on Roll20's channel and D&D's channel. In fact, the new one, Generation Fantasy, is streaming on D&D's channel. But if you find them on Twitter, then you will be able to get all of their updates. Hi, Rick. How are you? Oh, don't worry about it. I like talking to myself. I do it all the time. Yeah, so they had a bunch of really exciting world building streams that they did running up to the premiere of their new show that was last night. And it was just really exciting, really cool to watch someone else do things that I have been wanting to do for a really long time, and that is inviting the players in on the process of starting a new campaign, and doing it in a structured way. So it's really nice to see somebody doing that. Katie May is the DM for this new game, and I am really looking forward to seeing her do it. She has been a DM for a really long time on a podcast show called Dungeons, Dice, and Everything Nice that I have never managed to catch because I'm not really great with podcasts. It's all that audio stuff and just the one level of input and it being audio, which is something that I don't work well with. That means that I would lose track, and I don't know. I want to be able to really enjoy something when I do it. And I know that Katie May DMing Generation Fantasy for Indoor Recess is going to be something I'm really going to enjoy. Especially because like Carlos does all of the producing and layout work, and he's so good at that. And it's really exciting. They've got this. So if you saw the Quiet Year streams, the finale, I updated it so that it included some open captions for the whole group, where it would actually do the caption for each of us separately, so you know who was speaking and you knew like what order people were talking in and that sort of thing. And that's using Google Meet. And I got that from watching Katie May do it on one of her streams. Or actually, no, it was Indoor Recess doing it on their Companion's Tale stream, their first world building, well, the first one that they published, the one that they did live. And it was a great idea. And then they took that further for Generation Fantasy, and they scrunched all of that up into a cell phone that was put on the corner. And it was just like the top bit of the cell phone. And then the bottom bit of the cell phone was the Roll20 like dice window. It was so cool to see, and it worked so well. I was surprised to see that you could scrunch all of those captions into that one little space and have it still work. It might not have been readable on a phone. Now, it definitely wouldn't have been readable if you were watching on a phone, unfortunately. But for, like, say, a tablet or a computer screen, for sure. Maybe on a tablet, you'd have issues if you had like some sight issues. It might have been a problem, which is sort of unfortunate that it doesn't cover all cases. But to be honest, you can't cover all cases. A lot of people have started using Open Dyslexic as the typeface for captions in order to catch the dyslexics, but I think that's something that's of debate within the DDEF community in the first place, because the standards still don't recommend that you use it. There are a lot of situations in which it's an option in closed captions, but it's not. Yeah, it's a tough thing to work with. Captions themselves are really difficult to make work. Live captions, anyway. Obviously, if you're doing them after the fact, the way you make them work is that you type them out yourself. But yeah, live captioning is sort of a difficult thing. None of the live captioning tools out there are perfect. And the rate of success on those is not very high. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Other than having someone live sign while you're doing something. I mean, that's why you see an important things like news and whatnot. That's why you see live signing instead of live captioning, because live captioning just doesn't really cut it. Anyway, that's been on my mind a lot, all of that captioning stuff. Trying to get that working well for when you're doing multiple people. Something I'm going to be doing a project in May, producing some charity streams, and we've been discussing that within the group of producers about what sort of captioning we'd like to use. The captioning for the Hitler thing. Yeah, the captioning for our stream in the end did work fairly well when I wasn't sabotaging it by minimizing the window, and that's an OBS problem. That's not a captioning problem, or an OBS/Chrome problem. And what was it you had actually said that that made it turn into Hitler? Trying to think what we were talking about. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think this whole week I've just been in the zone. I really needed the week off. I was having some mental health issues, sort of stuff that was cascading from the passing of my dog in November, and I needed the space to think about them and process them. So I'm glad that I took that time. But yeah, it put me in a bit of a zone where I was just checked out for a long time. Oh well, it happens. So I'm glad that we're back in, and we're back in the game now. So Sorry, I'm trying to turn down the volume of my tablet because otherwise, and I should do that to my phone, because otherwise it's just gonna, oops. Well, I didn't mean to do that, but I guess that's what we're doing. If you're new here, we are world building in my own personal setting that is not for any specific game. The setting is called Kinde. And the framework that we're using for the world building, we're not just, randomly meandering through the land. Where the framework I'm using is a campaign Bible framework that was written by a podcasting duo called DM of None. Excuse me. They put up this campaign Bible that's based on the concept of show Bibles in TV writing. And I think it's really useful. And I also come from a sort of writing for performance area, trade or whatever. And so it makes a lot of sense to me to think about it in this way. So we're just making our way through that campaign Bible in order to produce a player's guide for anybody who might be playing within the setting of Kinde. Now I'm probably eventually going to turn this into its own RPG. And I've already started coming up with ideas for that, but for now we're just focusing on the setting because I would like the ttrpg to be led by the setting and what the setting needs. Kinde is a restricted fantasy with a dash of post-apocalypse setting. Yeah, restricted fantasy is in not all magic is available. The region is very focused. The region and point of view are very focused. So there aren't going to be a tremendous amount of fantastic fantasy characters and species and those sorts of things. No gods. It's non-traditional for certain, but it definitely pays homage to traditional fantasy. And every day we sort of play with those ideas of traditional and non-traditional fantasy every time we build something new. We're going to be working on holidays today. And actually, I wanted to start off a little bit by asking the Google a question. I'm thinking about how to phrase this, and it's just sort of about the background of holidays and why holidays exist and where holidays come from. Let's try this one. What is the history of holidays? Yes. How times have oh, that's interesting. Family. Oh. I don't know if this is actually going to be interesting. Let's try that. A lot of travel sites. Here we go. Oh, I like history.com stuff. Let's see what they got. Oh, no. Individual histories. Ooh, I want to read this. I'm particularly interested in causes. Maybe that's a word I should use in the search. I'm particularly interested in causes of holidays that are not like your really typical seasons and celebrated heroes kind of stuff. So the man who inspired Father's Day was a single dad and a Civil War vet. Twice married, twice widow, father of 14. Gosh. Goodness. In honor of her devoted... Okay, so it was his daughter, one of whom dedicated her life to the creation of Father's Day in honor of her devoted and selfless dad. Okay. That's really interesting because you think Civil War era, you don't think of selfless and devoted fathers. The elves fucked off day. Yeah, I mean, for sure we need that one. You know what? Let's just put this on our little bullet list. The elves fucked off day. There we go. Okay. We had the one I had on here is quite similar. But I think it's worth the separate. It's canon now. Yep. Okay. I'm sorry, I was just looking at that ad where the shirt that says, I'm only talking to my dog today. I need a shirt like that. I love that. I love that concept. That's very good. That's in that genre of like lounge t-shirts, which are always really nice t-shirts, but they have some kind of text on them that are like a mood, or, you know, just in the area of today is a leisure day, so somehow the shirt becomes a leisure shirt, and yeah, very much a thing that I quite enjoy. But I've never liked like sayings and texts and stuff. I'm not one of those people that has like the word love somewhere on my walls. It's not my thing. Which actually is slightly like, because I do have a plaque on my wall that has words on it. And those words are go wild and get naked. That's how I roll. So let's see. When Sonora was 16, her mother Ellen died, leaving William as a single father to Sonora and her 5 younger brothers. So we're talking oldest daughter. I recognize this situation. And by Sonora's account, he performed brilliantly. I remember everything about him, Sonora said. Many years later, the Spokane Daily Chronicle. He was both father and mother to me and my brothers and sisters. Sonora's mother, Ellen, herself a widow, had 3 children from a previous marriage. On top of that, William had also been married and widowed before he met Sonora's mother. Okay, so 5 children with his first wife. So they were already grown. No, they were grown when he became a widower the second time. So 5 children older than Sonora. Okay. She brought a petition before the Spokane Ministerial Alliance to recognize the courage and devotion of all fathers like William. On June 5th, it was her father's birthday. Okay. The clergy liked that. They liked it as a service concept. Okay. Yeah, that does really feel like it fits into the Christian narrative there. Yeah, sermons were dedicated to dear old dad. Red and white roses passed out in honor of living and deceased fathers. Oh, gosh. Oh, yeah. Been thinking a lot about genealogy lately. Well, all holidays are made up. Made up by who, though, Rick? What do you mean by made up? Are you talking like in the Hallmark card sense? Oh, let's see. There's nothing in here about exactly in what way he was such a great father. Was he like great for a Civil War era father, or just a great guy in general, or the Hallmark Mafia? There's no reference here to Mother's Day. This is actually an interesting thought. Let's check this. The history of Mother's Day. Okay, so we've got another history.com article. So let's just check the dates here. 1910. Oh, this was local, so What does it say? First Father Day, 1910. First Mother's Day was... $1908. Okay. So they happened, well, that's coincidental. They happened approximately at the same time in very different local areas. And that's really interesting. I mean, you couldn't, like, nowadays you could blame something like that on the internet, like somebody heard from somebody else and then it just became a thing. But, I mean, back then we're talking about West Virginia and Spokane. Where is Spokane? Spokane. I'm trying to think, where's Spokane? Washington? Yeah, Washington. So, I mean, you couldn't get much further apart than Spokane and West Virginia. And yet somehow these two things started at almost exactly the same time. That's interesting. That does make me wonder if there's a little bit of fabrication involved in that. Just a little bit of yarn weaving. But that wouldn't be, new or surprising. Okay, so this is a story about how a location became really important to a holiday. I don't know if you know this, but Americans are very fixated on Times Square being a place of celebration. I suppose it's not unlike the South Bank in the UK. The South Bank is where technically it's just the central London Thames area that's big for New Year's Eve, because I think you get people on both sides of the river who are part of the celebration, but like all of the drone shots you get of New Year's Eve celebrations in London nowadays are focused on the eye and the crowd that's on the South Bank. Forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, TV was always the South Bank is the better bank. Although I'm not sure I've actually been on the other one, so on the other side, so I might not know. So there's this joke among Americans about how Regis Philbin is a robot and not an actual human being. And this is all related to New Year's Eve, I swear. Let's see if I can bring up an image of Regis Philbin for you. Regis Philbin was he was a morning talk show host. That was what he was famous for, was his morning talk shows. It was something about this guy's age for the length of time that he was running New Year's Eve celebrations. But the joke was that he never aged during that time. And I swear to God, he was doing this for like 20 years. How long did Regis Philbin do New Year's Eve? What, Dick Clark's? Huh? I don't know anything about this. Oh, hang on. Am I thinking of the wrong? No, I'm not thinking of the wrong person, am I? No, I'm thinking about Regis Philbin. Yeah, no, I know this guy. It's making my brain hurt now. Hang on. No. I don't think this is right. What does Dick Clark have to do with it? Maybe it is Dick Clark I'm thinking of. I'm so confused. I mean, to be fair, this guy doesn't look that different from this guy, does he? I mean, this guy also like looked the same forever and ever and ever. See, now I'm totally confused, and I feel like I don't know what I'm talking about now. I have been out of the States for like 10 years, and I'm realizing more and more and more that I don't know what it is to be American. And like as time passes, more and more I don't know what it is to be American. I just joined a new Discord group. Actually, the Indoor Recess Discord group they just started. And they're all very American, and they all have a tendency to be quite young as well. And I feel a little bit lost in there sometimes. Like there's just a certain culture in that group that for a moment I was thinking it was sort of me and my neurodivergence, and I was just like re-experiencing some of that feeling of otherness that you get when you're neurodivergent, and I sort of thought it was my fault, and I was just having a bad moment or a bad time or something like that. And then it started to dawn on me, actually, no, I think it's just because they're young Americans. And I am, oh God, I'm going to say this out loud. I am no longer young or American. Wow. And so, yeah, I'm treating it more like a language gap sort of situation. So I'm just a babu. What? Was that a typo? What's a babu? Baby. I'm not a baby. You're only a few years older than me. You shush. Okay, maybe it was Dick Clark that everybody made that joke about. Anyway, so I know Regis Philbin did it for a really long time, and maybe it was Dick Clark that did it before that. Maybe it's somebody else. Love this. Of course, there's a picture of this. The History is the History Channel is an American network, by the way. So a lot of this is going to be American centric. Like we've got some pretty weird ideas of what St. Patrick's Day means. And I'm sure for all of you Brits, the fact that we celebrate St. Patrick's Day, but none of the other saints' holidays is also confusing. And you might think appropriative. But the idea is that actually we have a lot of really strong, a lot of really concentrated Irish immigrant communities in our big cities in the U.S. And they brought this holiday with them, and Chicago in particular latched onto it. And nowadays, it's understood that Chicago has the next biggest St. Patrick's Day celebration next to Dublin. In fact, if this picture will come back up again, it was on the thumbnail, and it's not, oh, dang it. It's not here. There was a green river in that thumbnail, and that is the Chicago River. No, it's not up now. We dye our river green every year. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I sure hope to goodness that they use like a biodegradable dye. But yeah, we dye our river green. I say we because I am from Chicago. It's my place. I love it. I love it to death. Yeah, most of our bars in Chicago, like half of our bars, you can't go far without running into an Irish pub. It's just part of the scene. Yeah. I mean, you'd be hard pressed not to know somebody who is Irish. Just in the same way you'd be hard pressed not to know somebody who had Italian heritage, like myself. Yeah. And that's all part of the like really classic immigration generation of the early 20th century. So we're talking, the potato famine and different civil wars, and like in Italy, there was a lot of poverty all over the place. Whole towns just were abandoned at the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century. And a lot of those people moved to America. And then stuck together, and that's why we get all these like hot concentrations of cultural history. And that's why Americans think of themselves in terms that, people who are from the countries that their family is originally from also think of themselves, which can cause a bit of contention. Yeah, so let's see. This is good. The ancient origins of Diwali, India's biggest holiday. Every year around October and November, Hindus around the world celebrate Diwali or Deepavali, a festival of lights. Yeah, marks the biggest holiday of the year. 2020 was 14th of November. I'm assuming because it's saying specific date that it's one of those ones that changes from year to year. Like many Hindu festivals, there isn't just one reason to celebrate the 5-day holiday. Pankaj Jain. A professor of anthropology, philosophy, and religious linked to multiple stories and religious texts, and it's impossible which came first. See, this is one of the things I find really interesting about Indian holidays is there's a lot of these sort of, thing. I don't actually know this for sure. Take this all with a grain of salt. But what I recall from hearing about Indian holidays is there are a lot of these holidays that don't, on the surface, have any sort of like religious or seasonal connotation. They're very celebratory of how would you label it? An idea, something idyllic, something okay, this is caution. This Google is going to sound very strange. The Mahakumbh Festival. That's what I'm thinking of. Penis worship. And yes, I'm going to say the word penis, and I'm not going to pull back from it. Sorry if that bothers you. You had to click on the mature channel thing when you came in here. Faith, religion, and spirituality. Largest religious gatherings in the world. So, okay, so it is religious. Because what I remember is, that's a lot of naked men. Okay. And that's one of the things I love about world culture is that naked women are gorgeous. Naked men are scary to look at. That's what our belief is. And I don't know how we got that way. Okay, this is a little bit more not quite what I'm after in a description. Anyway, so maybe there is more religion involved than I think there is. What are some holidays that aren't religious? Here we go. holiday traditions that don't involve... Oh, no, this is specifically about Christmas time holidays. Yeah, no. Oh, hang on. Okay. Oh, because it's got no history. That's why I can't open. Okay. All right. Let's look. List of secular holidays on the Rational Wiki. New Year's, National Religious, Thomas Paine, Darwin. Is this all American? This might be all American. Cosmonauts, International Literacy, Atheist Appreciation. Yeah, I think this is all American holidays. There aren't a lot of non-religious holidays, I think, is basically the point of this. And that, in fact, when they aren't, they tend to be celebrating ethical choices. I hesitate to use the word morals. Let's see. Okay. Ooh, I love the concept of Groundhog's Day. It's such a fun idea for a holiday. And I think around the rest of the world would recognize this holiday as the inspiration for the film called Groundhog's Day, in which Bill Murray is in a time loop, and it's one of the most classic time loop tropes. It is one of the origins of the most classic time loop. Wait, hang on. It is one of the origins of the trope. One of the most classic origins of the trope of time loops. When you think of that trope, your mind almost always goes immediately to the film Groundhog Day. He wakes up every day on Groundhog Day and, breaks things for a while, and then learns things for a while, and then eventually becomes a better person for it. But I like that it's vaguely weather related, or seasonal. It's vaguely seasonal, in that it's a weird tradition about local fauna, some kind of story, and I bet you there is an indigenous story involved there. Let's have a look. Groundhog Day origins: Germany, Pennsylvania Dutch, right? Candlemas as Badger Day, where if a badger emerging found it to be a sunny day, thereby casting a shadow. Oh wow, okay, so this isn't even American. What is a groundhog? It is a fat rodent. Think gophers, and it's a burrowing rodent. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Think gophers and moles and meerkats and prairie dogs and the like. Okay, Candlemas is primarily Catholic festival, also known in German Protestant churches. Various churches continue linked with the holiday that was discouraged by Protestant reformers. Notably, several traditions akin to weather lores. Weather predicting animal in Candlemas was usually the badger. Okay. Although regionally the animal was a bear or fox. It was originally a bear. God, the language in this article is really terrible. I wonder if it was written by a foreign speaker, and then because a lot of one of the rumors about being an editor on Wikipedia is that people get really precious about what already exists on Wikipedia, and there's a lot of like bureaucracy involved in changing content beyond like spelling and very light grammar. You were a Wikipedia editor once upon a time. Oh, no way. Oh, the section 28 page. I want to look at this. Hang on. Oh, yeah. Let's see if that's right. No, okay. It's been mauled. Here we go. Okay, of course you wrote this one. I believe that. Good on you. Amazing. I forget what all the sections mean. There's lots of sections, like we have amendments in the US. In British government, there's a lot of section some number, and I get them confused. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you and I have had discussions about this one. But yeah, anyway, being an editor on Wikipedia is, like you said, a bureaucratic shit show. Which is sort of contrary to what we were taught when we were all in high school, and everyone's like, no, Wikipedia is the worst because, it's unreliable and you can't change it. Or anybody can change it, they can vandalize the pages, and it's like, it's not that simple. Actually, the trouble you run into is when somebody winds up getting power over a page that doesn't know what the heck they're talking about. That's the real problem in Wikipedia. And then they will turn it into a power game of who's allowed to change the page and not letting people change the things that they got wrong in the first place. Sorry, I'm going on a rant. It's totally unrelated. Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, groundhog as badger. So the same traditions as the Germans, except the winters. But yeah, this reads like somebody's bullet list. Prolonged for 6 weeks instead of 4. Maintained by the Pennsylvanians. Yeah, seriously, this is really bad, guys. The form Grunsau has been used by the Lodge in Allentown and Elson. Okay, why do we need the etymological history of the name of groundhog in here? Okay. Scholar Reese Carpenter, 1946, emphasized that the Badger Day tradition was strong in Germany but absent in the British Isles, and there's a reason that the U.S. Groundhog Day was not brought by immigrants from these places. Okay, so the observance of Groundhog's Day in German communities in Pennsylvania, according to known records. That explains why the film is based in Pennsylvania. That was sort of the origin of it. Yeller's mention is 2nd of February 1840 in a diary. Okay. A Welsh enclave, but the diarist was commenting on his neighbors who were German. Punxsutawney beginnings. The first reported news of a Groundhog's Day observance was arguably made by the Punxsutawney Spirit newspaper of... Okay, wait. Punxsutawney's a real place? Hang on a minute. Punxsutawney is a real place. No shit. So why the heck did they film in my hometown in Illinois? That is so ridiculously confusing. This is a thing you might not know as well, that yes, the film Groundhog's Day, the reason I know so much about it is because it was filmed in my hometown. In northern Illinois. What? This is so confusing. I did not actually ever know that Punxsutawney was a real place. My mind has been blown. And I like how they're always like, ooh, the film is set in Punxsutawney, but filmed in Woodstock, Illinois. Which I guarantee you, if we go to the article for Woodstock, Illinois, this will be plastered on here somewhere. The Opera House is one of the main buildings. I love this place. I spent so much time in the Opera House, performing as well, because I was into music and musicals. Let's see. Yeah, there's, oh, gosh darn it, I did it again. Why do I keep doing that? Let's see if we can find the section on, yep, here we go. Roles in popular media. Most famous for the location of the 1993 movie Groundhog Day. I like this sentence. Although the story is set in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, the movie's producers preferred the quintessentially American but non-specific backdrop of the Woodstock Square and its surroundings. God, my hometown is very specific. Thank you very much. Okay. That's right. They last year they did go back and they filmed a Jeep commercial based on Groundhog's Day, which was quite funny. I was annoyed because I was literally there like 2 months before this happened, or like right before it happened, and nobody told me about it, and I could have arranged my holiday. No, it was my sister's wedding. I couldn't have changed it. It would have been nice to arrange my holiday so that I could be there while they were filming. Yes, this is another one. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was also partially shot in Woodstock. Yeah, but that was before I moved there. We moved there when I was 10 in 1990. I feel like I'm telling you too much about myself now. Yes, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is a great film. It's an inspirational film as well for all of the crazy stuff you can do, and, you know, like just the resourcefulness that it takes to make journey like that. I think is something that has become like embedded in the cultural memory of Americans, at least. So if anybody ends up making a crazy journey like that, which I have done, it gets referred to as the Planes, Trains, and Automobile trip. Oh my gosh, the basis for the fictional town of Hawkins Falls. See, I'm learning stuff I didn't actually know. And it was reported that filming had begun in and around the square for... Wait, so Lovecraft Country is based there too? No kidding. J.J. Abrams was in my hometown? God damn it. Bored Silly. I don't know anything about that one. Maybe they didn't stay there. I've never watched Lovecraft Country, so it is something special, damn it. Look at this. Look at this. This is my hometown. That is freaking amazing. Wait, do I need to? Yeah, no, that's right. That's amazing. Look at that stuff. That's our square. That's the bandstand. I've played on that bandstand music, that is. And I'm trying to judge which corner of town this is. Okay, so this is the southwest corner of the square. So this is literally a square park in the middle of our downtown area, which is not the same as a Main Street area. If you're thinking about, American small towns. And it's just referred to as the square, which actually is a really common Midwestern concept and further west. Downtown is just sort of the place that you go where all of the like local stuff is. That's what a downtown is. Like, so the next town over is called Crystal Lake, right? And Crystal Lake has like the main strip, which is another Americanized phrase. The main strip is where all of the big box stores are, like your Target and your, well, not Best Buy anymore, but you know, all the mallish, the strip mallish type stores. And in fact, Crystal Lake is sort of the place where all the locals, all the people from local towns all end up going to do a lot of their big box store shopping. And then Crystal Lake also has a downtown. Now they don't have a square. It is more of a Main Street kind of downtown, but it's like the old Main Street. So it would have been the center of the town when it was originally, became Crystal Lake. But it's actually north of the Main Street, which is almost like a highway nearly that goes through like sort of the south side of Crystal Lake. And then you have to get off that main road in order to get to downtown Crystal Lake. And that's where you see all of the old buildings and little tiny parks and stuff like this. And so Woodstock is similar, but Woodstock's central area is actually west of its main strip. I don't think there is a Main Street in Woodstock. There's definitely a street called Main Street. And I'm trying to remember where it is, but I can't think of it because there's nothing special on it. There's no reason why you want to stop on Main Street. But this is, so like the police station is here, all that kind of stuff. No, there's no Uptown. Uptown, though, historically speaking, is the place where all the fancy people live. And actually, Woodstock is not really a place where the fancy people live. Woodstock is pretty, there are definitely poorer areas. There are definitely poor areas of Woodstock, but there aren't any like rich areas of Woodstock because, mind you, those people live on the fringes of town. So there's an area of unincorporated Woodstock, which is another weird concept. That I'm not sure I know how to explain. And there are a lot of rich people who live in that area. And then there's whole towns outside, just on the fringes of Woodstock, that are almost entirely rich people. There's a town called Bull Valley that's on the fringe of Woodstock that they used to say, the kids used to say that on Halloween, you needed to go through Bull Valley to pick up your candy because the people there were so rich and there were so few kids going through the areas that they'd put whole candy bars in your Halloween bag instead of like just the little mini ones you would normally get everywhere else. Gosh. I mean, I'll tell you what, it's funny looking back at this stuff and you think, I was just really kind of just wanted to get out of there and live my own life. But looking back, it's such a lovely, charming kind of place. And my biggest problem with it now is how religious and conservative and white and, generally very privileged, but in a middle class kind of way, which is a very deceptive area of American culture. And also, generally very cishet, which is a sad thing. I grew up there. I mean, the weird thing is okay, so in second grade, I lived in another town, which was not necessarily any closer to the city, that's Chicago, but was far, far more diverse than Woodstock. And, my best friend at the time was a Black girl. And then to end up moving here and to not know any people of color. We had our Hispanic immigrant group, which everywhere had. And we're talking about like the late 90s. But they kept to themselves, and a lot of them didn't speak very good English, or at least, didn't talk to the rest of us enough to for us to be able to tell whether or not we could communicate with them. There's a whole lot of drama with that as well. I sort of regret that about my childhood, that it was just not diverse enough. And everybody's super religious. I think it's a bit different to that, but none of my siblings live there anymore, just my parents. So I wouldn't really know. Anyway, we were talking about Groundhog's Day. We're just going on a million tangents right now. I love the look of this holiday and how different it is. So maybe we should try and come up with something that's maybe an homage to Groundhog's Day. And maybe, let's see. Maybe it's an immigrant holiday like this is, but has been sort of mutated by the local population. So our immigrants are the elves, who are obviously not here anymore. But let's say the elves brought in a holiday, and it was about some kind of animal that didn't exist on Wataluna, which is the human continent. And so they altered it to incorporate, an indigenous animal, and then the humans just kind of like ran with it and turned it into something of their own. So let's see. What are some fantasy animals that aren't like too fantastical? Maybe we'll just Google this too as well, because I'm really good at producing stuff like this on my own. Fantasy animals. I love that foxes come up here. Oh my God. That's a lion with a guinea pig's face. I love it. White. Ooh, that's good. White hart. I love that. We've got, is it a jackalope with wings? That is a jackalope with wings. I just want to look at these images. We've got a griffin. I'm so taken with this guinea pig lion. This is so amazing. Let's see. We've got like a rabbit with wings. I wish it wasn't. I wish this is one of those moments that I wish that The Last Airbender was not as popular a thing as it was, so that I could steal the chimeric animals from it and not have everyone go, oh, like from Avatar? Let's see, we got zebras. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant creature design. I just love it. Animals, no. Here we go. Avatar Wiki. Love it. Oh, I love the way they did the background on this wiki. We got Aang on one side and we got Korra on the other. That's amazing. Okay. What have we got? Canyon crawlers, globe flies, elbow leeches, screeching birds, cat gators, bear dogs, buffalo yaks, polar dogs, tiger seals, gillicorn. What is that? It's a gillicorn. Oh, here we go. Here's one. Okay, so it's a kind of poisonous lizard-like creature that scavenges the Siwang Desert looking for food. Okay, so not a very exciting... Yeah, anyway. So fireflies and flying bisons, hermit crabs, crustacean that... Okay, well, that's a normal thing. Ring-tailed winged lemur, Arctic hippo. Okay, there's a lot of normal stuff in here, like a real world stuff. Koala otter. Is there a picture of this? I don't remember all of these. Yeah, it's just a koala. It's a koala on top and an otter on the bottom. It's just awesome. Penguin fish, otter penguins. They do repeat a lot of the sort of chimeric halves between animals. Arctic camels, interesting. Mink snakes, polar leopards, yeah. Cat gators, creeping slimes, eelhounds. Maybe it's a fish. Oh, I like that idea. Okay. Where are we going? It's a fish. It's a fish that shows that what do you call it when fish go upstream and downstream? Spawning? Is that right? Fish spawning cycles. See if we can find this word on here somewhere. Yeah, spawning. Reproduce by spawning. Spawning strategies, spawning grounds. Maybe it'll be here. Drift. Migration. There we go. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for, is migration. A fish that migrates at specific times of year. So when it appears good, wait, maybe we'll say bad weather is coming to settle in for the season. Okay. And then you just get like a season of bad weather. And remember, we're talking about living on a mountaintop here as well. So, traditionally, one type of fish from the elves. homeland, but another fish is used as a surrogate on Wataluna. Our tears? It's an interesting sound. Secular saint days. Yeah, no, you mentioned that before. I'm intrigued by the idea. Oh, martyrs. Right. I'm definitely intrigued by that idea, but it would require some thinking, so I don't want to jump into it right away, simply because of like the amount of isolation that humans had during the occupation. It would be quite difficult for them to have a unified concept of a saint or a martyr. Okay. Another fish is used as surrogate on Wataluna, and then Holiday is corrupted by the humans. Let's say it's specifically the practices are corrupted by the humans and turn to something else, like eat the fish for good luck. Okay. All right, I like that. That's good. Let's see if we can. Okay, let's engage with this concept of saints or martyrs. So we're talking about special people who have done a miraculous thing or sacrificed a great deal on behalf of everyone. Oh, this is okay. So one of the things that we have, so in the area of great people, we do have someone who exists under that sort of title, and that would be the original king of Miminey City. And we've got a name for him somewhere. Let's go Scrivenings. Here we go. Sorry, everything looks slightly different right now because they finally released Scrivener 3, and I had to uninstall and reinstall everything because I was running the beta. And all of my settings have gone, which I'm going to have to try to adjust for later on. Let's see if we can pull this guy's name out of my theory pages. No, okay. Where? Well, the new version is basically the same as the beta I was using because we were talking release candidates, so it's not going to be any different. And I've been using it for such a long time. This is one thing you got to understand about Literature and Latte, who is the brand behind Scrivener. They take things at their own pace. So they have been working on this for a very long time. It's been in beta for a very long time. I think they just don't put a lot of resources into Windows versions of stuff. Like I guarantee you they're probably gonna be announcing a new Mac version in, a couple of weeks. And it's gonna be great and wonderful, and it's gonna take them 3 years to do a Windows version of it. Yeah. So I mean, it's adequate. It does all the same stuff that Scrivener has always done, but in a more technologically adequate fashion. I don't have a lot of like, oh my God, this is amazing programming or anything like that for you. Because it's not really, it's fairly basic. And I don't think the thing that they're trying to do really lends to intuitive programming. I think you'd have to hire a whole team of UX designers to figure that stuff out for this. Because this is more about like workflow. Same reason why it's really hard to get intuitive like design software. Okay. That's I know I wrote his name somewhere. Maybe let's look in my okay, that's got all right, there's that. Okay, that's his lieutenants. There is no article for so the residents of High River. I think this is the only place it would be. Yeah, it's not there. Historic figure? No. Well, I don't know where it is. Anyway, so Miminey City had this king who was someone that a king was chosen from the clerks, a governor's assistant who had run the governor's household and been privy to many meetings and conversations on governance. So they picked a guy they thought who knew what he was doing, and the truth is the humans didn't know what they were doing. And certainly not enough to run a kingdom. And so this king would have had to have stepped down at some point. He would have had to have, because I'm not establishing that there was any kind of civil war. I don't think that's a thing that I want to do. I don't think it fits in with the trauma theme. So we could say that there is a holiday in which we thank the king for stepping aside so that the Eight Lorddoms could exist. Or stepping aside for the triad, maybe. The triad being the sort of more polity-based government, where there's like groups of people who work together to come up with the laws, and obviously eventually at some point that's going to get super corrupted and become like, a big power trip situation, but it isn't yet. So maybe it's both a holiday celebrating holiday, maybe it's more than one day celebrating the second market talks, the origin of the Eight Lorddoms, and the stepping down of Miminey City's king. So is there a sort of uniting concept between those three things? That would be nice. So the market talks is all about sort of a democracy, representation, debate. Let's jot this down. Okay, so market talks concepts. Democracy, debate, community. And then the Eight Lorddoms concepts are community and laboring for the betterment of society. That's such a 1984 sounding thing. Of course, it thinks that I'm using the American Dictionary again. Ugh. What else have we got? I'll put the exchange of knowledge in here. Because I think that's based on the origin of the lorddoms. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it isn't. King steps down concepts. Humility. Bowing to the popular, let's say, popular demand. Doing the right thing. Putting community before individuality. Oh, interesting. Why would it be dreaded by the humans? Maybe it's a bit high concept. Well, it's a concept that, pardon me while I put honey in my tea that I've had sitting here for a while. I'm told that the sound, that people like this sound. I don't exactly. Interesting. Was it like a purge? Oh. Interesting. Why would the elves do something like that? Why would they have a purge-like situation in their society? I mean, there's going to be a lot of academic competition, a lot of angst. You're going to have a hit list, aren't you, of people who got that merit award that you were trying to get. People who got an audience with the king based on their work that you were vying for. So maybe there's a day where they get to release all of that pent up aggression towards each other. I don't think it's like a murdery kind of day. Maybe it's a day that the elves thought was for them and not for something to share with the humans. Maybe it had some kind of repercussion on the humans that was really bad. And so it's turned into a day where humans like stay indoors. Interesting. Okay. Elven holiday to release built. I like that. This phrase is a good hint at where my brain is going on this right now. Elven holiday to release built up tensions regarding academic achievement competition. So humans weren't included, but it had a negative impact on the humans. And therefore it's a day for humans to stay indoors, be quiet. Maybe it's a day to take a rest. Maybe it was a day that required the humans to have to work hard, like in a way that was like outright cruel. Because again, we're talking about this this society in which, I mean, it's called the occupation because the humans come in, they slowly subjugate the humans, and the humans live in a very restricted, subhuman way under the elves, but it's not slavery. Nobody's told them they can't leave. Nobody owns anybody. This is just the way the humans live now. This is the world that they know, the experience that they understand. There's a lot of restrictions for them, and like what kind of education they could get, and all of that sort of thing. And they essentially did a lot of manual labor for the elves, the things that the elves didn't want to do. And so maybe it's a day that the elves wanted to like show off their skills that weren't entirely intellectual. Which means that there would be demands on the humans. Which means that the elves would go into the human caste wards and work on work with the humans. Hey Ben, how you doing? We're doing a thing here. Hang on. My brain's moving and it's good. The elves would actually show up in the caste wards expecting to be instructed how to do the manual things that the humans did, and they'd be shit at it. And they would just have to deal with a lot of weird abuse, and they'd be exposed to all of those microaggressions from the elves who didn't think that the humans were really good at anything, and they'd maybe crack jokes with each other in front of the humans, behaving like they can't comprehend how they're being insulted. Oh man, this is giving me shivers, like terrible, awful shivers, because this is just reminding me of fucking school. Oh, okay. Right. No, I mean, we'll start a new one. Okay. elven holiday where the elves put down intellectual pursuits and learn / practice of physical labor. They would go into human caste wards and expect the humans to teach them how to it was lots of microaggressions and racism the humans had to deal with. So how do you... Oh no, this is so heavily tied into my trauma theme. You know, a lot of people who have experienced trauma in their lives, especially complex trauma, like not non-acute trauma that has a lot of repetition, it's really easy for that to get associated with a specific time of year or a specific holiday, someone's birthday, maybe your family is really abusive to you, and so every time there's Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever, it's a horrible traumatic time for you because you are expected to sit in all of that abuse that you're taking in, or maybe all of that neglect that you're coping with. Maybe someone expects you to do all of the holiday things on your own and you're not allowed to ask for help. Maybe it's the time of year that someone in your family got particularly drunk and it's the one time of year you were guaranteed to get hit. Maybe it's a partner or a parent's birthday and they had expectations of you that were unreasonable and they were abusive about it. It's really easy for you to, for your trauma to get associated and tied to a very specific date. And so when you become separated from that trauma and it's no longer there, maybe a parent passes away or you leave someone or you go no contact with your family, a date that should normally be enjoyable for you, like Christmas, you can't enjoy. And I mean, maybe eventually you can, but it takes a really long time. Until you've dealt with your trauma, that date will always be a horrifying experience for you because your body, your actual muscles, you physically remember what that date felt like before you were separated from the trauma. And so the question here that we need to ask ourselves in order to apply this to our world building is, how do we react to that memory, to that physical memory of abuse, of trauma? What are our behaviors? So in some cases, you find something else to do on that day. A lot of times you wouldn't not just anything else, but something particularly enjoyable that's completely unrelated. or you can go in the counter conditioning / what do they call it? Exposure therapy route, and you can find a new way to participate in that event that mixes something that you find particularly enjoyable along with this thing that you find particularly horrible. And the combination of that will allow you to separate the pain that you normally associate with it, and you don't feel that pain as acutely anymore, and therefore the holiday can be something that you enjoy. So like in the instance of it being, say, Christmas, you, as time goes on, you form your own family. You have your own partner, your own children. You spend time with that partner's family, and they're all lovely, normal. I hate to use the word normal, but non-abusive, loving people. And so you participate in Christmas because you have that now. And while Christmas still reminds you of the horrible times you had with your own family in the past, the love that you get from this new family, found family, made family, whatever, counter conditions the trauma, the learned trauma reactions you have around Christmas. And you learn to appreciate Christmas again, and you less and less you have that physical reaction, that physical memory of trauma. So I think that latter example is something that we can't use here, because the humans have no reason to practice this. They were separated from it. So I think we have to go in the other direction, where the humans do something else, something very different, something really exciting and happy, something busy, so that they don't have to think about it. So it needs to be a big, bombastic holiday. What do we get? Maybe that's something they did during the occupation, that when the elves went home for the day, I'm gonna write this down. When the elves go home for the day, the humans would party to release tension. Yes, it is very sad. It's hard to talk about, especially as someone who's experienced, trauma, even if I'm not talking about trauma that's specifically mine. It's hard to talk about those kinds of experiences without having my own physical memories of trauma. And to just keep talking without feeling bad and wanting to clam up. Yeah, I think that's why when you get a lot of people talking about trauma and living with narcissists and abuse, they can be really aggressive about it. I could see myself wanting to do that whenever I talk about it, because it's a coping mechanism. I could see myself being aggressive about the way that I talk about it as a way to prevent myself from shrinking, from sort of wilting under the weight of my own experience trauma. Yeah. So good on you for arriving right when that happened. Let's see. So they'd throw a party. And so now that the humans aren't around at all, that means that this entire day is a party. I bet they burn effigies of elves. I bet you they do. Or something like it. Okay, hang on. So maybe they just set adrift. Slash downriver effigies slash vessels that figuratively contain all their troubles and worries. Because then it becomes both a learned trauma behavior and also a cathartic behavior, a way of processing. Similar to like burning your ex's shit on your front lawn. Or like, you know, there's that trope of the ritual of like burning a photograph of your ex in order to set your intentions sort of thing. That's got that sort of borderline pagan ritual about it. Yes, I like this. Okay, we've got another holiday there. I don't think I'm going to use this one. I think because, you know, it morphed into the other thing. So, which is a very good suggestion by Rick, by the way. Ben, what kind of holidays do you have? Like in your life, in your settings, in games that you've played? That sounds really amusing. I kind of like that. Clowns that look suspiciously like elves that act dumb. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking for holidays that aren't really common, that aren't religious. I was telling Rick, I've only got like the one person that could be centered, that a holiday could be centered around. But there's also a lot of things that happen around the same time. So I was trying to sort of think of what are some common themes that could then become central to that holiday or that time of year. Yeah. Holiday that's origins are unknown. Well, it would be easy for something that managed to stick from ancient human history. It would be easy for that to have unknown origins because they were so uneducated after 2,500 years. Would they have had to celebrate it in secret? Ancient human holiday passed down orally. Was it secret from elves? Why did they forget its origins? The trouble with world building something like that is I would not be okay not knowing what the actual original origins were. Throw away your oldest clothes and buy new ones on that day. Well, they don't buy clothes. They make clothes. Clothes are given to them. Like clothes are just a public. I'm not even sure that an individual cast ward would be able to make its own clothes, because that would require them to have non-cast ward specific skills, which would be vaguely outside of the expectations the elves had for humans. But I get where you're going with that. Like a pancake day kind of thing. Maybe it is food related. Let's pick a food. I like that. What kind of food? A day you eat. What? Porridge? Something breakfasty? A day you eat lots of grapes. A day you... Wait, are you actually talking about the... Wait, is there a part of Pancake Day that doesn't involve eating pancakes? Is this a thing that like northern people remember that no one else remembers? What? Ritual burning of the previous year's Holy Week palms. Finalizing one Lenten sacrifice, as well as eating pancakes and other sweets. So what is it? It's the day before Ash Wednesday, the day before Lent. Is it? Okay. See, this is something that, unless you're Catholic, like Americans don't really get a lot of exposure to, because our varieties of Protestantism don't really celebrate these things. Yeah, we don't do a lot of like Ash Wednesdays or Lent or anything like that. You'd have to be like Lutheran or maybe Presbyterian or Anglican to have that be a part of your church celebrations. Interesting. You know, the reason like Mardi Gras is a big New Orleans thing is because the French origins of New Orleans mean that the area is very Catholic, or traditionally so anyways. It might be much more Baptist now than Catholic, but So burning the palms. History. Okay, terminology. I don't think we need terminology. Traditions. Dual purpose of allowing Christians to repent any sins they've made before Lent. So, okay. Maybe in a broader sense, it's more of like out with the old, in with the new, starting over kind of thing. Pancakes are associated because they're a way to use up rich foods, eggs, milk, and sugar before the fasting season. So you use up the foods that you won't be eating for the next 40 days of Lent. Why don't I always think Lent was 10 days? It's 40? Does it have to do with Jesus' 40 days in the wilderness? I'm confused. Maybe I need to read the page on Lent. No, I don't really need to be studying Christian mythology right now. This is me getting curious and running off on a tangent. We talked about my hometown for a really long time earlier, Ben. You missed it. Moses in the desert. Why is that associated with the number 40 though? I didn't think he was in the desert for 40 days. That number always says to me that's talking about Jesus in the wilderness. Yeah, that was Jesus. That was also the flood. Maybe it's a lot of things. No. I'm not looking for the title of a film. Before his temptation, Jesus fasted 40 days and 40 nights in the Judean desert. Moses was 40 years? God just loves the number 40. 40 days is the period from the resurrection of Jesus to his ascension. Moses' life is divided into 40-year segments, separated by growing to adulthood, fleeing from Egypt, and his return to leading his people out. So he was, so was he 80 when he, okay. Moses was 80. Was this in the period of time where people lived like several hundred years? That might be. Sundays are excluded from the count. Interesting. So actually 46 total days. Interesting. 40 days and 40 nights of the flood. So so that 40 years in the desert, is that referring to the time between him fleeing Egypt and leading his people away? Or was it 40 years where Moses and the Hebrews were wandering the desert before they found, Canaan, their home, the land of milk and honey, or whatever, the place that they settled? I know a lot about Christian mythology. I was very religious as a child. I have actually read the Bible several times. Like, no joke. In fact, when I was a kid, I read a comic book version of the Bible several times, which is mostly just a collection of like the famous stories. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Just pick a number. Just use it a lot. Actually, I already do that. The number 8 is used a lot in the setting. In fact, it does have vaguely religious ties because the 8 faces is the secular religion of the humans. And so you've got the 8 faces, you've got the 8 Lorddoms. Yeah, 8 is repeated. 8 days of fasting. Interesting. That's not it. Followed by 8 days of fasting. Yeah, that works. In which case it gets very Lent-like. 8 days of fasting. Well, it depends on your version of fasting. That length of time is a really common general length of time for fasting. I have done 8 days of water fasting, which is you literally eat nothing that has any calories in it. So you just drink water, basically. Sausages, getting rid of most of your meat. Yep. Ooh. Obviously, they wouldn't be cured sausages, would they? Yeah, okay. So let's put down here, food that needs to get out of the cupboard because otherwise it will ruin during the fasting period. I don't think they ate meat though, because I don't think the elves ate meat. I think that humans are generally vegetarian, but not vegan. So milk, eggs, cheeses. You're just obsessed with apples. Why are you obsessed with apples? What's so great about apples, Ben? What's going on there? Well, they grow everywhere because we moved them around and made them grow everywhere. Somebody thought they were amazing and then they picked them up from Qatar or whatever country, Uzbekistan or something like that, I think. And I think that was one of Marco Polo's things that he did. Brought apples west from along the Silk Road, or the what is the name for that trade journey that wasn't silk? It was like spice or something like that. Yeah, no, apple trees don't require a lot of looking after. But we do live on top of a mountain. Is this going to be your thing? You're going to get obsessed with like a specific idea and you're just going to say it over and over again until I end up writing it into my setting. So first it's goats, now it's apples. Let's do soft fruits because soft fruits don't actually have a good shelf life. A Festival of the Goats. Oh, hi, Cernade. How you doing? Nathan. Hi, Nathan. I'm Morgan. We don't really get to talking much when I'm watching the Ben shows. Oh, sorry, that's my printer going. Blame Ben, it's his fault. Okay, I'll go with soft fruits. Apples are actually, they have good shelf lives if you store them properly, apples. But things like raspberries and blackberries and plums, they don't. Okay. Yeah, I want a goat holiday too. Goat holiday. Catch that goat, which is a thing you can do on mountaintops. Okay, I think I'm gonna end it on the goat holiday. I think we've done I'm impressed. I did not expect to get this much fun holiday content on our stream today. So I'm really pleased with that. And thank you, all of you, for coming along. And oh, Ben, it is a bleeding good idea. Everyone have a great night. Thank you so much for coming along. I had a lot of fun. We came up with some really great ideas. Mostly before Ben showed up. And Keep an eye out on my Twitter. I might have announcement of something interesting I'm doing late on Sunday night, but we will see. And also, hopefully, in the near future, I'm going to be announcing the next game that Rick and Pascal and I will be playing. New stuff coming. So don't be shy. And, then you also get to see all of my crazy tweets about being forgetful and about how much I love Indoor Recess and Generation Fantasy, and all of that. Have a great one. Bye.